Hey, that's really good.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Let's see. Make sure we're on full screen.
If I'm not close enough to you.
Turn up our volume. It is recording. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Lynn Wood. I'm a student services assistant at East Los Angeles College. This is my spouse, my partner, Anne. And we have a couple of books that we're going to talk about and read to you. And I wanted to talk a little bit about not really resources, but information, I guess. The college, East Los Angeles College, we are returning to in-person services. I believe it was July 12th when it began. I'm not sure on the specifics, but you are able to go to the college now and visit student services in person. Wait, is it the 12th yet? Yeah.
Today's 13th.
Yeah, so it started yesterday, sorry. But personally, everyone is still available online via ConnexEd or Cranium Cafe. So you do still have that as a resource. And then to mention that the Garage Board Shop is still doing their weekly food giveaways. That's something they've always done. It's on Fridays. They're in East LA, and Eastmont Community Center in Montebello. They also are continuing with their food giveaway. They are also on Friday. Neither one of those you have to register for. They're walk-ups or drive-up. The Garage Board Shop is a walk-up one. Eastmont requests that you drive up. I mentioned schools returning to in-person services. I would still recommend online services until we get into August or closer to fall semester. We're in summer right now, but fall is expected to be fully in person for student services. So you can definitely expect to receive in-person services for fall, but that would be later in August. So extend some grace and some patience right now if you are visiting campus, limited offices in person for services. The book that I wanted to talk about today is called I Hope We Choose Love, A Trans Girl's Notes from the End of the World by Cheng, Thom. It's one I've talked about before. My hair person, Pony Lee from Folklore Salon, recommended it to me. I haven't finished it, but I'm just going to select a section from it to read from. And then Anne has a book that she's talking about
Called Dead Girls by Nekesa Afia. If I mispronounced it, I apologize. But that's how I'm going to say it. Nekesa Afia. And it's a Harlem Renaissance mystery.
I forgot about this book.
I know. So I'll read maybe like first couple of pages or something, and then if it's interesting to you, you can pick it up yourself. It's a pretty new book. It's her first publication. She's a young Black woman, I believe.
So like a lesbian themed.
Yes, that's another thing. It's like,
yeah.
Somewhere there's a lesbian thing going through there, because I was looking for books that were more like fiction instead of memoirs. And found this. So I was looking for one like, so this is one that you could potentially, when she's working on campus, if everything works out the way it's supposed to.
We bought this one off of Amazon, but
Right.
potentially you could come into my office in F5 when that opens and check this book out.
Or another book, you know what I'm saying? You could purchase it obviously independently.
Be a nice reference place for you to visit, to be able to immerse yourself in queer literature.
Yes,
whatever that
that's what
is
that's
to
what
you.
we were going for. It's, you know, even though she's a new writer, I've read good reviews on it.
This
Anyway.
person is also a new writer. I believe this is the only book they've published so far. Oop, there's the camera. And so I'm picking this section. It says the ties that bind, the family you find, or why I hate babies. There isn't a queer in the world who doesn't pine for the perfect family. It stands to reason, since the vast majority of us have complicated, to say the least, relationships with our parents. Even those of us lucky enough to be born into accepting families still feel that longing like a compass in the heart, always pointing toward a distant place where we are safe at last, where there are no shameful secrets, where we are held and nourished and protected as perfectly as a baby bird still in its shell. This is why the concept of chosen family is woven so deeply into the fabric of queer community culture, where the bonds of blood have failed us time and again. We hope that our friends, lovers, and mentors will fill that void. Good idea, Anne. I think I'll take an iced coffee break too.
Yeah, she made us this iced coffee with, what kind of coffee is it?
Oh, cold brew.
Cold brew. Thanks.
I made cold brew, but decaf cold brew.
But it takes like 24 hours for it to come to fruition. And of course, then you use your Starbucks cup because
Save yourself some money and buy everything and do it yourself at home. It's pretty yummy.
But it's pretty
dang good.
Pretty dang good.
Pretty dang good.
It's the spot, yes, and it's decaf. See, we're still stupid.
Yeah, it's the sugar. I did put sugar in it. Yeah. We dream of relationships that will stand the test of time and gay drama, for better or worse, in sickness and in health. Shut out the heteronormative institution of marriage and the nuclear family for most of history. Queers have traditionally turned to more daring and creative notions of kinship and sharing the future. When I first entered queer community in the urban centers of Vancouver and Montreal, I often heard other young people talking about their radical plans for growing up together. Some of us long for monogamy and middle-class domesticity for a gay version of the kind of existence our parents had taught us was worth wanting. But it was more popular, especially among the university queers with asymmetrical haircuts, and a penchant for citing Michael Foucault in everyday conversation to lean toward polyamory and collective living. Gay marriage, the university queers said, often more than a hint of superiority, was bourgeois and passé. So was the nuclear family and home ownership. The racist, sexist, colonial, heteropatriarchy would never be undone by the assimilation of queer love into neoliberal modes of family. We weren't going to be co-opted. We were going to build queer urban housing collectives, gay land shares in partnership with indigenous nations, trans-inclusive lesbian nature communes run by consensus.
I'm there. I'm totally there.
We would take in scores of LGBTQ teenagers kicked out of the house by their parents and teach them the ways of the radical queer. We would learn how to grow crops and make our own vegan cheese. We would raise chickens and cows and free-range unicorns, go riding across the fields, our multicolored hair flowing in the wind.
Grow almonds.
Yes, need almonds for the milk, right?
And oats.
Don't scold me too harshly for my sarcasm, dear reader. I need to poke fun at the revolutionary over-enthusiasm of university queers because I was one of them. I disavowed capitalism, individualism, decried assimilist gay politics, denounced the nuclear family. I wanted to escape the trap that my parents seemed to have fallen into of endless striving for material success and consequent perpetual dissatisfaction. I wanted to live differently, vibrantly with my friends in an endless circle of share and share alike. We looked to the legends of movements past and present for inspiration. Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson, founders of the Star House for trans sex workers in New York City. The gay fairy sanctuaries of the 70s and the fairy enclaves that still exist, scattered across the world. The radical care work that occurred between lesbians and gays of the ACT UP movement and the AIDS crisis. The lineage of radical queer kinship runs deeper than blood. Why would we ever need marriage and the babies and condominiums where we had revolution and each other? The problem was, reader, that the revolution never arrived, or at least it hasn't. The babies, however, did. I have a running private joke that's just between me and myself. And I hate babies, queer spawn, or the children of queer couples most of all. It's not a very funny joke, really, unless you take it to be lighthearted yet bittersweet in the spirit it is meant. Allow me to explain. I don't really hate babies as a general rule. Actually, I like them very much. They're quite cute.
It's not getting any better.
They're quite cute. They have good skin. They're
I
often
used to
clean.
be one.
They smell like fresh bread.
They smell like fresh bread. Fresh poop bread.
Yeah.
Queen is stripping.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Anyway, I'm going to stop there because I really want to get to the book that Anne is going to read to us. And I'm excited about hearing about this book.
Okay.
So let us transition to Anne.
Okay. All right. Okay, it is a murder mystery.
Oh, I was wondering that.
So
Thank you.
just to let you know, this is probably going to be a murder. Yeah. So this is the prologue, and I guess setting up the rest of the book.
Man, this is
Winter. Excuse me.
Sorry.
I feel like Tiffany Haddish now. I'm trying to do a show here.
I know if you're checking out Shark
Oh
Week,
my
you
gosh.
gotta watch the Tiffany Haddish Shark Week special. Oh
You
my
gotta
God,
watch.
She's so good.
She's
such a natural. I don't know what else to say.
Ever since, okay, how many years ago was it that we were watching her on the was it the Michael show?
Some show.
What was the name of it? It was about a Black family,
Hmm.
I believe, living somewhere in Los Angeles, and they're all living in the same damn house.
The Michaels, yeah.
The Michaels, and she is the wife,
Sister-in-law or something.
yeah, of she's the wife of one of the sons, and every time, and
She stole the scene every time.
She stole every fucking scene she was in. I was like, I said, did you see this girl on this show? How long? That was such a long time ago. Now she's just like, everybody's waiting for her to go. She's ready. She's ready.
Oh
And
my
it's
God.
like her line,
Her tagline, yeah.
her tagline, and it's a great tagline. But she is ready. She's always ready. And
Shark Week, check it out.
yeah, she was just fabulous.
Okay.
Anyway,
Segue back to the
she
book.
even has a book. Oh, we could read from her book. The book, tell you the truth, the last black unicorn. It really tells you about her life, but it's not what I would call a well-written book. But I could read you
Former foster youth. She grew up as a foster youth.
Yes, I could read excerpts from it probably for you, because some of it's she's wild. Prologue, winter 1916. Oh, this was before the plague.
Interesting.
The last plague that we know of.
Right. Sorry, that's not funny.
Oh, I know.
It's the sugar. You can't stop. Sorry.
All right. The wind whips against her face. Snowflakes stick to her hair, her cheeks, her eyelashes. She's disoriented as she tries to find her way home. The sun set at 4 in the afternoon, but it's much later now. It's so dark that it feels as if blackness has swallowed up the city. She's making her way down the streets. relying on street lamps and muscle memory. It's impossible to see in the snow. She knows two things. First, that she's going to be in big trouble for being so late. Second, that it's not going to be easy to locate her house in this terrible storm. It's a small home. She's the oldest of four girls. The youngest are twins, high energy and overly demanding of her patients. It's exhausting to keep them in line. They don't behave as they're supposed to. Even worse, they were all crammed into one bedroom. They live with their widowed father and his sister. Her aunt is strict, but her father is ruthless. He works in the church and has high standards for his children. She also suspects he resents all of them for not being boys. He can snap at any time for any reason. Anything she can do to protect the twins, she will do. What's the world like outside of this place, she wonders. Maybe someday she'll find out. Maybe not. She's crossing the street now, turning the collar of her coat to the wind. The residents of Harlem passing her by. They all seem to be in the same rush, wanting to get home and out of the cold. The stove will be nice. She's going to sit in front of it until her face is glowing from the heat. After that, maybe she'll read, or perhaps write a letter using the new fountain pen in her pocket, which she bought earlier in the day. Or maybe someone grabs her from behind, a pair of hands that seems to have come from out of nowhere. She tries to pull away. She slams her elbows back, kicks hard. Her hands ball into fists, and she turns to throw a punch, but it's too late. A raggedy cloth presses over her nose and mouth. The world spins. The buildings blur. After a few seconds, it all goes black. She won't be going home tonight.
Oh, shit.
So I said it's murder. Her hands are shaking. That's the first thing she notices. They're tied tightly in her lap. She immediately begins trying to get loose. The room is small and dark. In the distance, maybe a few steps away, the blackness is so bewildering that she can't tell for sure. Someone is crying softly. The winter cold has settled into her bones. The tips of her fingers have gone numb, her feet too. Her coat is also gone. It provided some comfort against the cold, but now she's trembling under her thin clothes. She blinks as her eyes adjust. How long has she been here? A day, a week? She has no idea. The last thing she remembers is trying to get home, then fighting as hard as she could to free herself from someone's grasp. But that could have been a month ago. She could be in an entirely different city, maybe even a different state. Her eyes are heavy. She wants to go back to sleep. Oh, they must have been drugging her. Just for a moment, she thinks. Maybe if I sleep for a bit, I'll wake up and find myself next to the stove in my house. But she knows better than that. If she closes her eyes again, she may never wake up. It's too cold in here. Her stomach is swirling. Cramps tear through her legs in gripping waves. She must stay awake and alert. The room is even smaller than she'd first thought. Now that this dark isn't as menacing, she can make out the dirty walls. And she's not alone. There's a girl with smudges on her face several feet away, curled into a little ball, one arm tied to the wall. Next to her is another girl. They're leaning on each other for warmth or support. A third girl is lying on her back, frail and shaking, crying. She doesn't say anything. She doesn't know what to say. But a million questions have bubbled to her lips. You're up, the girl with dirt on her face says. She should be back to feed us. He should be back soon to feed us. Who? The man. It's not much of a response, and she doesn't know what to do, with it. It's only him? Only one I've seen. The dim winter light streams through the only window. Bars cover the glass, but it's too high to reach, even if she could somehow untie the ropes. Then she remembers the pen in her pocket. It's still there. She can feel its hardness against her skin. She lifts her hands, slips two fingers into her skirt, and manages to fish it out. She uses the tip to start cutting through her binds. It's slow, but it's working. I'm going to get us out of here, she tells the other girls. The girl with dirt on her face looks up. In the dim lighting, she can see that they're all alike. In the dim lighting, she can see that they're all like her, young and black. What's going to happen to us? The girl asks. She's about to answer when the door swings open. All the girls look up, watching as light floods into the room, momentarily blinding them. The man enters, a mask covering his face, a gun holstered at his side. He's tall, at least 6 foot, and well built. She manages to pretend to be asleep. She waits. Then he turns to check on the girls by the wall. She leaps off the chair and throws herself at him. He drops the tray he was holding, and loaves of stale bread and a pitcher of water fall to the floor. He throws her back and she crashes against the cold wall, stars clouding her vision. The pen rolls under the chair, but still she attacks again, rough and unrefined, concerned only with saving herself and the girls. She manages to connect on a few more blows, one hitting him square in his stomach. He yells, the girls scream. She feels a second burst of energy running through her veins. While he doubles over, grunts, and tries to shake away the pain, she reaches under the chair and grabs the pen. He turns back toward her, staring into her eyes with a wild glare, never once looking down to the object in her hand, in her palm. There's a pause, as if he's trying to figure out how he wants to kill her. He glances at a sharp-edged brick protruding from one of the walls. He nods as if delighted by the agony her body will no doubt feel when he slams her against it. But he never gets the chance. As soon as he's within 2 feet of her, she lifts the pen and buries its razor-sharp tip into his shoulder. He howls in pain. Yeah, but that doesn't kill you. He howls in pain. I would have got him in the side of the head.
Side of the neck, man.
That's true. Which is the best side? The left side? Where the jugular is? He glances at a sharp-edged brick protruding from one of the walls. He nods as if delighted by the agony her body will no doubt feel when he slams her against it, but he never gets the chance. As soon as he's within 2 feet of her, he lifts the pen and buries its. She lifts the pen and buries its razor-sharp tip into his shoulder. He howls in pain. His screaming echoes off the walls. In that moment, she grabs the gun from his holster and aims it at him, then unties the other girls, the idea of freedom giving them the strength they need to get out. Then they stumble, one girl limping for the door. As she shepherds the other girls to safety, she decides that she'll never be made a victim again. Do you want me to continue?
Let's hear a little bit.
That is very yummy. Chapter 1, Summer 1926. Something about the booming band made Louise Lloyd feel alive, really, truly alive in a way that she had thought impossible. Sweat rolled down her back, down her face, sticking her hair to her cheeks and red lips. She didn't bother to brush away the strands as she concentrated on dancing. The strap of her dress fell, revealing her shoulder, and she put it back into place. She was panting for breath, her heart beating wildly. Sounded like she was having fun. She let her muddy hazel eyes flicker just for one moment, taking one beat to reset. The Zodiac was the hottest club in the West 50s in New York City, and everything about it was the best. It had high, sweeping ceilings, gleaming dance floors, and the best band in the city. The bandstand was big enough for an orchestra. The band itself, however, was 7 pieces, and there was a different singer each night, all poised to become the next big thing. Tonight's singer was a woman with a soulful voice and skin darker than Louise's. She was barely dressed. wearing a tiny showgirl costume. The light shone on her, gleaming off her long arms and legs. She managed to make eye contact with everyone in the club, presiding over them as they danced. A small smile settled on her face as she clutched the microphone stand. The bar had been shoved into the corner, almost an afterthought. There were no tables and chairs in the Zodiac. The rare non-dancer stood by the wall and watched. No one came to the Zodiac to sit. The music bounced off the ceiling like some unbridled animal in heat. It was impossible to speak over it. The band was playing a song Louise particularly loved. Like, oh, this is my song. And you get up, it's like every song is your song. The best part was that for the right price, the owner didn't care what color a person was. Good for them. Secrets were made and kept at the Zodiac. It was a place where men could dance with men and women could dance with women. That sounds scandalous. Louise needed, this is summer 1926. Louise needed a place that was discreet and had a good band, right? The Zodiac was that place. She was lost in a sea of sparkles and skirts and bangles, some of the many shiny bright things on the dance floor. She was wearing a new dress, one she had splurged on, one that felt special. It was navy blue with sequins that shimmered in the light. She had meticulously paired it with navy blue heels and red lipstick, and she could feel girls in the club staring at her. She was caught in the sway of her skirt as she let herself be carried away by the music, twirling and stepping. She had paid a little too much for this dress, and it was a bit too long, but it was her first time wearing it out, and she had been right. It was special. There was nothing better than dancing in a new dress. She danced with her closest confidant, Rosa Maria Moreno, who was wearing a complimentary dress of blood red and was easily leading Louise through the Charleston steps. They only really needed each other. She and Rosa Maria never tried to attract attention. That was something that happened as they danced, feeling the music between them as they moved. It was an easy, effortless connection that she never needed to think about. It was the perfect way to end a Thursday night or begin a Friday. They had been in the Zodiac since it opened at midnight, on the floor for 2 straight hours, completing every Baltimore, Charleston, and foxtrot that the band played, running to the bar for drinks if there was a lull. Her muscles screamed for a break, but she wasn't about to let up. The Zodiac was open from Thursday to Sunday, and they had so little time to spend on the dance floor. Ready to switch? Rosa Maria asked. Rosa Maria was tall, but not awkwardly so, with perfect clear skin. She had bleached her hair blonde, but had grown tired of it after a week, and now she had thick, dark roots. Her eyes were dark brown and wide. The red of her dress bounced off her skin, and she was, frankly, the most beautiful girl Louise had ever seen. Always. They changed so she was leading. Always. Oh, ready to switch? Always. They changed so she was leading, the music settling inside her in a way she didn't try to fight. The song ended to wild applause, and the band struck up a waltz. Rosa Maria loved the waltz, but Louise abhorred it. She found strange men often proposed marriage if a girl was good enough at a waltz. She had no time for silly men. So as Rosa Maria was twirled into the next dance by a man she did not know, she slunk to the bar. She needed a drink anyway. Lovey, the bartender, Rafael Moreno, greeted her. He leaned over and kissed her forehead. Everything copacetic, baby doll? Copacetic means cool, you know. Louise smiled and pulled her hair from her lipstick, her pulse slowing. Everything's Jake, baby. A drink? And how? She leaned over the bar and pulled her purse out. Raphael kept watch over it while she danced. That's nice. It was the major benefit to being best friends with the bartender. She pulled out a cigarette, lit it, and checked her makeup in her compact mirror. Her lipstick had smeared and she began to reapply it. Gin, lovey? Raphael asked. Raphael Moreno was many things, devastatingly handsome for one. His dark hair was always neatly parted, his brown skin perfectly sun-kissed, his eyes dark and beautiful. Ooh, he sounds cute. He had the unique ability to make a girl weak at the knees with this one dimpled smile. Raphael had been there the first time Louise had walked into the Zodiac, and he'd remained a constant ever since. The moment he had found out her middle name was Lovey was the moment he started using it and nothing else for her. Yes, please, Louise winked. It was her own little nightly dance. He placed a glass in front of her and began to pour. Her attention drifted to the dance floor, where the couples were swaying romantically. How's my sister? Raphael asked. Rosa Maria was Raphael's twin sister, older by about 3 minutes. Excuse me. Louise could never see real similarities between the two. Never better. Louise drained half her gin and placed her glass on the bar. She passed the dizzy state she liked to stay in and was officially drunk. Raphael was watching his sister on the floor, lips slightly pursed. It was that small thing that told Louise he was jealous. He had to stay behind the bar. You're on fire tonight. We always are. I'll save you a dance. Please. Please. Raphael often hated that this job put him so close to something he loved to do. Both Moreno siblings were sensational dancers, and Louise sometimes struggled to keep up. I heard some men asking after you, Raphael said as he watched the dance floor. Louise rolled her eyes. Their conversations had to be shoved into a few minutes. Louise wasn't dancing. They'd learned to keep it to the important details. I told him you weren't interested. Much appreciated. She tried to find the man Raphael was talking about in the crowd. He seemed like a real cake eater. He seemed like a real cake eater. The same could be said about you. Does it mean a faggot?
I was wondering that, but I'm not sure. I don't know, honestly.
He seemed like a real cake eater. I'm gonna have to look that one up. The same could be said about you. But I do it with style. Raphael winked. Over there. Handsome, tall. Louise looked to where Raphael was pointing. The man in question didn't notice them. He was oddly dressed. Everyone in the Zodiac wore their best, but his jacket was shabby, and something was off about him. His hat was pulled low over his eyes, and he stuck to the windows of the club. He was an outsider. Louise turned back to her friend and raised an eyebrow. You know me, she sipped from her glass, trying not to let the bootleg alcohol stay in her mouth too long. I'm happy where I am. How can you tell he's handsome if you can't see him? Every man that tall is also handsome. Raphael placed the glass he was cleaning under the bar and tossed the rag he was using over his shoulder. Louise scanned the floor, ready to go again when the band picked up the pace. She hated being on the sidelines, away from the action. She hated watching. She looked back to where the man had been standing. He was gone. The band changed songs after polite applause, throwing themselves into something with a faster pace. Louise placed a couple of dollar bills on the bar and whisked back onto the dance floor. It was Rosa Maria's turn to race to the bar. Louise realized that she should want more, that she should strive to get more out of life than the women who came before her, that she should want real freedom and to follow her dreams. In a world where women got so little and Black women got even less, she had to be better. However, at 26 years old, all she really wanted to do was dance.
Sounds good, right? This is such a good book. I'm really enjoying it so far, but I think we need to stop there Again, my name is Lynn Wood. I'm a student services assistant at East Los Angeles College. I didn't give out my email address. I do like to do that in case there's anyone out there in the universe who can't respond on social media. You want to send me an email. You are a student. You know of a student who's in the system, wants to get in the system, needs help in some way. Feel free to send me an email. It's woodcl@elac.edu. That's Wood, C as in cat, L as in Larry, @elac.edu. And my name is Lynn, last name is Wood, and I work at East Los Angeles College. This is my partner, Anne. Thank you for reading today, Anne.
Again, this is the book. If you want to, you can purchase it on Amazon. Like, nah, that's where I got it.
We bought it on Amazon. I forgot to look and see if LA County Library has it, but LA County Library is an excellent resource and you don't necessarily have to go into any of their libraries. They have a great app. I think it's called Libby. And I found a couple of gay books on there. I, again, didn't check for this one, but I do hope to have it in office when I'm able to return to those services for in-person. Whew.
Yeah, it just came out the other day.
Yeah, literally, we were on a wait list for it on Amazon. And then it came out, so we have it now. But anyway, thanks for tuning in today. I appreciate it. Take care. I'm wishing you a great Tuesday wherever you are.
Thanks for letting me read.
Thanks for reading, baby doll.